Good morning. All right, everyone's here. Welcome back to day 2 of London Calling. We've had an amazing time so far. So now everyone at London Calling, all of our speakers, they are being asked for what walk-on music would they like. The team told me that we would, for this session, for the day 2 session, that we would do a public vote. Two things immediately came to my mind when someone said we're going to do a public vote for the opening soundtrack to day 2. Firstly, who chose the songs? And secondly, was SpongeBob SquarePants on it? I was semi-relieved to see that it seemed to be a sort of a Gordon collection, and there was no SpongeBob on it. But this whole piece actually got me thinking about crowdsourcing. Now, you heard yesterday about the way that we decided to embark on the MAP program, how we really felt that it was something that we wanted to do with the community. And it kind of got me thinking, what are the origins of crowdsourcing? Does anyone know how far back the first sort of formal version of crowdsourcing goes? Any guesses? No? It actually goes back all the way to the 18th century, 1714 actually. So the great nations of the world were trying to dominate the sea, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't measure longitude at sea. So actually, about 1 in 5 ships were lost in key trade routes. And so a bunch of merchant sea captains, they put this big petition together, and they asked the UK government to sponsor a prize to solve the problem of measuring longitude at sea. It was a £20,000 prize, and it's actually something that's still working today, still operating today, the Longitude Prize. One of the key things it's trying to tackle right now is AMR. But hundreds of people applied, and then John Harrison's came up with his chronometer. So that was in the 1700s that he developed this. If any of you take a stroll that way, out of the building towards the Millennium Bridge, which is just opposite St. Paul's, you'll find this really nice, you'll find a sort of a really nice monument underneath it that has a millennia of scientific instruments, and the chronometer is on there. So if anyone fancies a walk in the glorious sunshine that I believe we might be promised at some point this year. We certainly haven't seen it yet this week. So the chronometer took about 30 years to perfect. So there was the H1, there was the H2, the H3, the H4. But the really important thing is that with each version, mariners took it out and started to further complete the map. So this is Captain Cook's map. It was completed with the H1. Charles Darwin, that we heard about yesterday from Dave Deemer, he actually went out with the H4 version of the chronometer. So it basically means that with each and every iteration, that the people who utilize the tool, they really go out and do some really, really important discoveries. So at Nanopore, we've been iterating. We've been iterating now for 10 years. You heard from Clive yesterday, we carry on iterating still. So the latest point on our journey has definitely been the move to our transformer models that are enabled sort of towards our Q30 simplex. We've kickstarted our Elysian line, we've got our Traxian line coming, and of course, all of our products, be they sort of PromethION, GridION, MinION, they continue to evolve, continue to innovate on them. With each iteration, you the scientists, are showing us what is possible. 13,000 publications to date. If you look at that number, it is not slowing the rate of publication. Over 10 years of breakthroughs, the breakthroughs have been phenomenal. And what's really, really nice to see is the diversity of subjects that are now being covered. In 2016, it was mostly infectious and microbiology and small genomes. In 2023, we start seeing a lot more plant, a lot more animal, a lot more human. Of course, there's still an enormous amount of bioinformatics interest in how to develop tools for Nanopore. So one thing that we think about at Nanopore now that you've shown us what's possible, is how do you make what's possible practical? So our teams have been working really hard on developing end-to-end workflows. So these are solutions that cover sample preparation, sequencing, and analysis. On the synthetic biology side, we've worked to sort of pull together plasmid workflows, AAV, amplicon sequencing, RNA vaccine QC, making sure that there are complete end-to-end workflows for all of these. We've done the same on small genomes, so having all of the Arctic-like workflows for SARS-CoV-2, the NOMIS, so the nanopore-only microbial isolate sequencing, metagenomics that Cecil covered yesterday, 16S, all of these are now becoming completely tied together. And what's really important with that is because we have very, very strong recommendations behind how you prepare the sample, how you sequence, how you do the analysis. Nanopore is also standing behind its commitment in terms of the output that you should be getting from your samples, the performance you should be getting from the sequencer, and the output that you get from the analysis. So all of these workflows, our FAS teams are trained up, making sure that you guys are getting the results that you need. Moving over to human, we have our human variation workflow. This is our workhorse. So we've got lab protocols for 10 kb, 30 kb. They capture all the variants. We can do extraction from cells, blood. We're getting onto the saliva swabs. Those are in development. And of course, you've got the epitome point-and-click informatics that we are now tying into MinION. We heard from Carol yesterday on TiloSeq. It's a really, really exciting method. So there's a TiloSeq workflow coming. We launched and announced yesterday our collaboration with Twist on pull-downs. First end-to-end workflow coming from that is the PGX. And of course, you heard from Clive yesterday on the nanopore-only T2T bundle coming. In addition to that, we have single cell that we've had as an offering for a while now. Reduced representation methylation sequencing, one of the applications that utilizes adaptive sampling to scan all of the interesting areas of methylation, cell-free DNA, and tumor-tumor normal. So all of these workflows have full support behind them, and we're really excited to work with everyone to ensure that they're getting the answers that they need out of our product. So the first thing I wanted to make sure everyone was walking away from this talk reassured is that we understand that in order to make what's practical, in order to make those workflows possible and scalable in your hands, you need stability. So the Q20 chemistry, we are committed to supporting programs at scale that are utilizing Q20 chemistry. Our flow cell, the R1041 flow cell, is now released. Kit 14, now released. We have, of course, hack-based calling and epitome analysis pipelines. There's a 3 to 12 month change notification now behind products that are in release state. And we're doing this because we hear from many, many of our customers to say, the platform's ready, we're getting fantastic results. From a single flow cell, we're getting the modification, we're getting structural variation, the SNPs, the indels we want to see, and phasing. All of this with hack-based calling, which has been, of course, accelerated, so it works all real-time on your devices. Clive showed us yesterday, platform has still an enormous headroom, an enormous potential to improve, and our teams will continue to do that. However, we are supporting the current versions that we've got in field, and we are also now starting to do all of our own internal verifications and validations on PromethION. So if you're about to start a long-term project, do talk to us, and we will do recommendations on what versions of MinION you should be on, so that we can all be aligned on that. The other key thing I wanted to make sure that everyone left the room with is to hear that we are listening. So we have support teams, we have the Nanopore community. There's, of course, a lot of activity on social media. All of your feature requests, all of your feedback that gets collected, that gets looked at by the R&D teams, we collate all of it, and we start working through it. We start working through each feature request and everything that's coming into us. We've doubled the number of support staff out in the field. We've doubled the amount of product testing resource in-house. We're looking to make our products a lot more robust as soon as they leave the building. And other key user experience developments that we've been working on is, of course, accelerating our base callers. We did that a lot of that in 23. We've invested an enormous amount into Epitome so that you get simple click analysis. And we're really, really committed to delivering the product robustness and quality that you need by continuous innovation in manufacturing, tracking any in-field issue, dealing with it, and of course, connecting support and product together so that you get Minno helpers and we actually start really working towards a best-in-class customer experience. So that is what we're trying to do. And all of this should serve our roadmap towards deploying it in the clinic. So we have our pathway, we have research products that go through a maturity cycle. Those go into Q-line, where it's all frozen, and some of those, together with partners, become IVD products. Tomorrow we'll have here our first clinical and applied day. We're going to be focusing on oncology, human genetics, biopharma, and infectious disease. Sorry, look back. So those are the 4 core components of our day tomorrow. And it's a really, really exciting part of London Calling for us because it's where all of the innovation that happens over the last couple of days, where they are turned into reality, turned into product that is going to have everyday impact in customer hands. And aside from that, we have an immensely strong pipeline of products. So we have the GridION V1.1 going out in July. And then during 2025, that will become a 13485 GridION DX. We will have the Q-line PromethION launch, and we'll have the Elysian moving towards a regulated platform as well. So we have a strong product pipeline to turn everything that you guys are using today into applied products. And so with that, the last thing that remains for me to say is thank you for all of the inspirational work that you do. It's enormously motivating to all of us. These talks are not just special for teams and customers, but we also beam them straight back into our research facility where everyone wakes up in the morning and gets a massive buzz out of seeing everything that you're doing with the platform because it's an enormous motivating factor for them. Thank you very much.